Hello, and thank you for joining us for our webinar today. Today's webinar is called Strategies to Succeed with Delegation. I'm Kristin Tyler. I'm an attorney, and I'm also one of the co-founders of LAWCLERK. And I'm so pleased to be joined today with another co-founder, Talitha Kozowski. Talitha, thanks for joining me.
Hi there, good morning. Thanks for having me, or afternoon.
It is afternoon now, exactly. So the goal today is Talitha and I have gotten to know a lot of our top users on LAWCLERK. These are attorneys who are using LAWCLERK, working with our freelancers, and really seeing a lot of success with that. And we see some recurring themes of things that they're doing that work really well for them, and we have a hunch they could work really well for you. And so today we want to share some of these strategies for you to hopefully give you a better idea how to use LAWCLERK and succeed with it yourself. So we're going to kick this off, and we're going to try to keep this about 20 minutes or less because we know your time is valuable. But we're going to start with some of the basics, okay? These are things that may seem kind of common sense, but you'd be surprised how many lawyers don't do some of even the most basic common sense things. And so we want to go through these first, and then the second half of the presentation is going to be the really good stuff, the secret sauce about how people are really seeing that phenomenal success with LAWCLERK. So stick with us through the basics, and then we'll get to some of the top secret stuff later on. Okay, so first off, Talitha, want to talk to us about reasonable rates?
Absolutely. So, the old adage is true, you get what you pay for. And so, one of the things that I think is important is to consider sort of the sophistication of the work that you need done. Do you need a simple memo that somebody that just as a year out of law school can do? Then you should pay accordingly, right? That certainly isn't something that needs extensive experience in order to tackle. But as you're looking at, your more complicated work, are you doing appeals, or do you have a motion for summary judgment? Do you need a consult with somebody who has a really specialized knowledge in something? And in those instances, you want to pay according to their level of experience. So. And it's always important to remember you're billing these people back out to your clients. So, for me, if I'm paying somebody $75 an hour to do a pretty basic research memo, I'm probably billing that back out to a client around $150 an hour. And when I work with folks on much more sophisticated work, I'm paying them, a meaningful premium, whether that's $150 an hour, $200 an hour, whatever is appropriate for that level of sophistication. But then I'm billing my client with an equal premium. So be cognizant of the level of work you need and make sure you're paying accordingly. The other thing I do is sometimes I think something's pretty simple, but I'm cognizant of the fact that maybe it's not. Like, I don't have my arms around the issue as much as I think I do. And so I will do a post that says something to the effect of, I think this will take 5 hours, I'm sort of paying this amount. If you are exceeding that, or this ends up being much more complicated than I anticipate, let me know and we can talk about increasing the rate, because you can always modify, you can always increase the rate. And I think that gives a lot of freedom to both sides, so you don't feel like you're shoehorned into a specific amount if you don't have a good sense of how long something should take. And I think it gives the freelancer comfort to know that you've opened the door to that discussion if you think your 5-hour project is really a 20-hour project, which sometimes happens. And then this one always makes Kristin cringe a little bit, but sometimes I'm super on top of things, and lots of times I need something tomorrow morning, and it's 8 p.m. And so in those instances, I will post a project. And what I encourage you to do is, if you have a rush job, I'll put in all caps, like, I need this tomorrow, I need this in less than 12 hours, I need this, whatever it is, in big letters, all caps, so that the freelancers know that. But then I also put in there, I'm paying a premium for this. Like, I know that I'm asking you to work through the evening or get up at, super early to do this for me. And I will say, in every one of those instances, I've had just stellar freelancers show up to do work that, my own associates would be sending some not so nice texts about if I ask them to do it in sort of the last minute. So just be cognizant of the time you're asking people to spend on it and how quickly you need things done. You can get them done, but just compensate accordingly.
You are absolutely right that your rush job is making me a little bit nervous, a bit of a nervous ninny, but we do rush jobs all the time, and a lot of lawyers do well with that. That's the nature of the business to some degree. But that leads really great into our next slide, which, you know, the lawyers that we are seeing have the most success with LawClerk. By and large, they plan ahead, okay? They aren't waiting until the 11th hour to push work through. You know, I see lawyers that are oftentimes, you know, the second they get an opposition in on a motion, they know that they have a certain amount of days to get that reply done. They're posting it immediately instead of waiting a few days while they think about whether they have time to do it or not. So, you know, as soon as work comes up on your to-do list that you determine is a good candidate for you to delegate to someone else, that's the time to post it. Don't wait, go ahead and post it, because giving yourself and your freelancer as much time as possible is definitely going to increase the odds that you're going to have, you know, the type of work product you want. So plan ahead as much as possible. Try to avoid those rush jobs, unless you found a freelancer that you work with really well, and then you can push a little bit. And last but not least, also make sure that you are including enough time for you to supervise the work. So, you know, we don't want to put the deadline for a project on LawClerk at the day it's due to the court. Maybe build it in at least a day ahead of time, if not two, so that you have enough time on your own calendar to review and edit that work before it goes out as a final product. So those would be a few more of our basic suggestions.
All right, so this one I think is super important, particularly when you're starting to work with new freelancers. You want to make sure that you're very clear about what you're asking for. Do you need a motion and a declaration? Do you need a appellate brief and you want the table of contents, the table of authorities, and the excerpts? You know, be very clear about the scope of work, what exactly the work product is that you're looking to get back, so there's no ambiguity. And we have this really awesome feature. If you do sort of some of the same work over and over, build out a one project that has sort of all of the details, all of the meat of what you're looking for. And then instead of simply recreating it for every project, you can duplicate that project, change the name, and all of the description is there. So that makes it super easy. The other thing you can do is simply, you know, create a template, keep it in an email, and cut and paste and drop it in. We also have a really great project delegation worksheet on lawclerk.legal. If you go to the attorney resources page, and it's a great way to help you determine, you know, what is a proper description, what is exactly what you need, and help you work through it the first time.
That worksheet is such a great resource. I'm a big fan of the project delegation worksheet to make sure you're thinking through all of the different issues that you need to cover with the instructions. So, okay, another great way to set yourself up for success is that if you do certain types of work, or you have certain documents that you're working with on repeat and you have a preferred form or a template, go ahead and share that with your freelancer. You know, I really think this applies whether you do transactional work or litigation. I know one of our top users who does, she's actually in-house for a small family-owned company, and they have a lot of real estate dealings that they work with. And so she has a preferred form for her commercial property lease agreement that she then shares with the freelancer with the term sheet of what needs to be updated that they can work off of. Likewise, I've seen a lot of our attorneys succeed with sharing a template that maybe, you know, if it's a family law attorney, they have a template form for interrogatories for a divorce case that they want the freelancer to work off of. So think about sharing those forms. And if that makes you nervous, you can always ask the freelancer to sign something saying that they will not use those forms or templates for work beyond work they're doing for you. But it's just another way to get yourself closer to the end result you want and to be happy with the end product. Second suggestion on this slide is to over communicate. We unfortunately still don't have any freelancers that can read minds, and so that makes communication extremely important. Like Talitha said, with, you know, starting it out with really crystal clear instructions, making yourself available for questions along the way, promptly responding when the freelancer does send you a question. We make it really easy for you to communicate with the freelancers in a lot of different ways: email, phone, our message portal. I know a lot of our top users now actually even just text right back with their top freelancers that they like to work with. So communicate, communicate, communicate is key. And last but not least, I think that another way to set yourself up for success is to manage your own expectations. Every once in a while, I talk to a lawyer who uses us for the first time, and they're surprised that they don't get the work back 100% ready, final to send to the client or the court. And 100% is not realistic. We always tell our attorneys that you should expect to get work back from our freelancers at about 80 to 85% of the way done. If it's more, that's great, and usually it is more. But at a baseline, if you can manage your own expectations for what you're going to get back and the time that you're going to be contributing to make it a final product, you're going to be a lot happier with the end result. Okay, so I think that brings our basics to a close. So now we're going to get into the really good stuff, and we may actually do a separate webinar, just follow up on this. But the true way that our top users are seeing wild success using freelance lawyers and law clerks is by taking full advantage of a feature we have called Teams. In a nutshell, what Teams is it allows a busy attorney to go in and favorite their top freelancers. When they find someone they enjoy working with, someone who does good work, they can tag them to one of their teams, and they can create a variety of teams. We're going to talk a little bit about that now. So Talitha, would you kick us off with some of the secret ways our top users are succeeding with Teams?
Oh gosh, so I thought this was super cool the first time I saw this. One of our users, and now we have so many who do this, but when she first did it, I saw it and was like, I need to do this. She builds teams based on the project area, the type of work she needs done. So, she does a ton of demand letters, and then it's followed by an appellate process. And so she has a team that does simply the demand letters, and it's a robust team. They all know what exactly she wants, what she expects, and they're really good at churning those documents out now. And then, the appellate process is a very different animal. And so she has built out a team that's all of her appellate attorneys that work through all of the briefing process. And then she also has another discovery team for various discovery issues that come up. And I was just like, wow, that's so smart that you have all of these people you go to who are have the exact perfect skill set to work on that sort of project. And so what we're seeing now is more and more attorneys doing this. And so they're building a discovery team, and they're building an appellate team, and they're building a contract review team. Or various, whatever is applicable to sort of their practice, but they have their go-to people who are just absolutely skilled and really great at turning specific types of work. So I think that is a brilliant way to build a team of people that can get you exactly what you need very quickly.
It's great. I think that's so smart to hone in on those skill sets you need for different types of work and build teams accordingly. Another way that we're seeing some of our top users succeed with teams and have a lot of success is to build teams focused on practice area. So if some of you I know that are on here today or that may watch this later on, maybe you have one really focused practice area. And so for you, the skill set teams might be a good option. But if you're an attorney in a small town, if you have a rural practice, maybe you are dealing with different areas of practice on a regular basis. So for example, one of our top users who does live in a smaller town in the Midwest has created a team for each of those different practice areas that she touches regularly. She's got a bankruptcy team, she's got a criminal team, an estate plan team, a family law, real estate. You get the drift here. But if you're juggling different types of practice areas, this is a great way for you to tap into the talent and expertise you need in different areas when you need it. I've heard a lot of our top users say, gosh, this is fantastic because there's no one associate I could go hire that could do all these different things and have the broad knowledge that the freelancers do who have specialty in these different areas. So if you need to tap into different practice areas to get help from time to time, build a team for it. And that way you'll have folks lined up and ready to go.
So this is another way people are using teams. They use it for a life of a case. And so I have one specific practice area. And so this is something that I personally do. I do corporate bankruptcy, and my cases sometimes are year or years long, and there are just a number of parties and complex issues. And so I will pick a handful, sometimes one, sometimes three freelance attorneys that I will work with over a life of a case. They learn the facts of the case. They know all the parties. They often will have drafted the motion, and so I get the opposition in and I ask them to draft the reply, and there's no learning curve. It's amazing. And we're hearing more and more attorneys using this. I just spoke with one of our users the other day who was like, oh, hey, how do I add somebody to my team, that, you know, this per freelancer to my team again, because she did the complaint and now I have a motion to dismiss and I want her to do the opposition. And I was like, exactly, this is exactly it. She's like, she knows all the facts, she'll be ready to go. And that is exactly what the Teams feature is fantastic for, is, you know, somebody spends the time, invests the resources in getting up to speed on your case. You know, you can work with them for an extended period of time and literally have them take the case from beginning to trial, which is amazing. It really is having your virtual associates. So it's sort of all the benefit of the associates without the requirement of the full-time overhead.
That's for sure. And I think another thing we've seen on this is every once in a while we see an attorney post a project where they say, I have a big litigation case and I need someone to help me with the whole case. And they post it as one project for the whole case. And the problem with that is, number one, our freelancers like to get paid regularly. And so it really helps a lot if you can phase out that work into different projects so that they're routinely getting paid throughout the course of the case. And it also just helps you manage your own workflow too. So definitely encourage folks to streamline with the freelancer over the entirety of the case by phasing it into different projects. So, well, that was it. These are our top secrets that we have for ways that you can succeed with LawClerk. I think I did see maybe one question coming in here. I'm going to try and see if I can find it. If you do have a question and you're live on here, we'd be happy to answer that now. If you don't, you can always connect with us later on. You can connect with us on social media if you haven't already. We're on all the big social media platforms. This video will be available later on for replay on YouTube. If you have a specific question and you already have a LawClerk account, I would encourage you, you can either reach out to your dedicated LawClerk advisor, or you can also reach us at support@lawclerk.legal. That's a great way to get a hold of us, support@lawclerk.legal. If you don't have a LawClerk account yet, well, there's no time like the present to sign up. There's no fee to sign up. There's no monthly fee. It's a great tool to have available to you so that you're ready to go when you need an extra set of hands. And when you do sign up, you'll be matched up with what we call a dedicated LawClerk advisor. They're going to be essentially like your concierge. They'll be there to help you figure out how to price projects, help you narrow down your candidates when you're overwhelmed with too many awesome freelancers applying to your projects, and they can answer a ton of other questions about the system. So if you haven't already connected with your dedicated LawClerk advisor, I definitely encourage you to take time to do that, or just know when you sign up, you will be matched with someone. So we have a bunch more webinars coming up in the weeks ahead. They will be practice area specific, focused on different practice areas. Our first one is next week on family law, followed the next week by bankruptcy, and we will also be doing a special session to introduce you to the team of dedicated LawClerk advisors. So thank you again for joining us. So we hope this was very useful for you, and we hope you have a successful and enjoyable rest of your day. Thank you so much.